guys, welcome to once again another exciting edition of our Excel shortcuts. My name is Rexford and this is RX Tutorials. In today's video, we are going to learn some pretty much useful Excel shortcuts you definitely have to know. Our first on the list in this video is Control N. And what Control N does is that it opens up a new workbook. So for example, I'm currently using this workbook. I want to open up a new workbook. So what I'll do is I'll just press Control N. And then here I go. I have my new workbook open. So what Control N does is that it opens up a new workbook. And this shortcut, I pretty much use it. It's very handy. Makes you so fast and efficient. The second on the list is Control W. And what Control W does is that it closes the workbook. So for example, I open up a new workbook. That is this, and I would want to close it. So I press Ctrl W, and what this does is that it closes the new workbook. So as you can see, my new workbook has been closed. And if you have, and it can also be used in such a way that you are in this workbook, you'd want to close it, Ctrl W, it opens up the save, pops up the save pane. In this case, it asks you whether you want to close it or not, so I'll cancel. So what control does, it closes the workbook. So this is pretty much useful. And the third on my list is control home. And listen here, what control home does is that it takes you to this cell that is A1. So wherever you are in this list, so for example, if you are in, let's say you are in the last sheet, or you can be in any of the sheets, when you press control home, what it does is that it sets you, it always takes you to the cell A1, which is very much useful because you have a million rows of data, and then for example you want to return back to the uppermost cell, you just press control home, and then here you are in A1. It takes you back to A1. So this is pretty much useful as well. So if you don't know, then you definitely have to know. The fourth on the list is Control Shift Tab. That is to switch between previous workbook. So for example, I go to a new workbook. I'm in this workbook, which is a count if function workbook. So I want to go back to my previous workbook, and then I press Control Shift and then Tab. Here I go. I'm currently in this workbook. So what Control Shift Tab does, that it switches you to your workbook, your previous workbook, just as I did right now. So you have to, if you don't know, then this is a pretty much shortcut you definitely have to know. So the next on my list is Control Page Down. And what Control Page Down does is that it moves you between the sheets. So for example, in this case, I have different sheets. I have up to 5 sheets. So I want to move to the next sheet. So what Control Page Down does is it moves you to the next sheet. So I press Control Page Down, and here I go. I'm in sheet 2. If I want to move to the next sheet again, I press again, and then I'm in sheet 3, sheet 4, and currently in sheet 5. So I want to get back to, and then so what Control Page Down does is it moves you between all the sheets. So this moves you to the right side of the sheet. So then I move. So what about if I want to get back to my previous sheet? And I press Control Page Up, and here I go. I'm in my previous sheet. So Control Page Down moves you to the right, and Control Page Up moves you to the left. So if you want to move to the next sheet, you press Control Page Down. You are in this sheet, and then you press Control Page Up to get back to your previous sheet. So I think this makes you really fast. If you are swift, you are shifting between the sheets, then it makes you really fast. So this is pretty much useful shortcuts you definitely have to know. And the next on my list is Control 1. When you are doing charts or you want to open up the format pane, you press Control 1. So for example, I'm in this cell, I want to format it. So I press Control 1, and then this brings up the format cells pane. So in this case, if I want to change the number category, whether to make it a number or to change it to percentage, or to make it a text or something, then you can change it. You can also change the font, the border, the fill, the protection. So the control one brings up the format cells pane, and then you can change, you can format your cells whatever you want. So this is pretty much very useful, very useful, that you definitely have to know. So that is control one, that is to format the cell content. And the next on my list is, this brings up the activate to activate the filters for your cells. So what this means is that, for example, I'm in this table, and then I'm in this column, that is column I want to know the different dates, or I want to know, for example, I'm in country, I want to know the different countries or the different unique countries in the cell. So this brings up the filter button. So what you do is you press the alt and then the down arrow. So in this case, I'm in country, so the alt down arrow brings up all the unique countries in the list. So as you can see, I have US, UK, the Germany, China, Canada, and Australia. So those are the countries listed here. So you definitely, everybody that deals with data or tables, this is very important, or this really makes you really handy. So you press alt, and then the down arrow key, and then it brings up the filters for that particular column or field. So in this case, if I'm in a product field, I press alt down, and then it brings out the different types of products I have. So in this case, I have the bag, the belts, the jeans, the shirt, and the shoes. So this pretty much is very useful. You definitely have to know. And then next on my list is the shift plus space bar. And what shift and space bar, shift combination with space bar does is that it highlights or selects an entire row. So for example, you want to select this row, instead of clicking to select the whole row, you can just press the shift and the space bar, and this row is selected. So the shift and space bar selects or highlights the entire row. What about the entire column? That one is control and space bar. So for example, I'm in this column, I want to select the whole column, control as a space bar, then here I go. My column, the whole column is selected. So this is very much useful, that you definitely, if you know it, it really makes you really handy and very fast. So you definitely have to know shift and then space bar, and then control plus space bar. The next on my list is to insert a column. Very, most of the times we definitely have to insert columns. For example, I'm in this table, I want to insert a column in this table. So instead of selecting the whole column, or selecting a column and then deleting or inserting a column, I can simply press shift control space bar, I select, and then control plus, here I go, I have another column inserted. So this inserts a column in your data. So first of all, you have to select the column, that is control and then the space bar to select the column. Before then, you press control plus, and then another column is inserted. What about if you want to delete it? So you want to delete it, is control and the minus sign. So this is deleted. So how then do you insert a row? So first of all, to insert a row, you press shift and the space bar. So shift space bar, so this row, the whole row is selected. Then I want to insert a row, so I press control plus the plus sign. So this gives me a new row here. What about if I want to delete it? Is you press control and the minus sign. So control minus, this is deleted as well. So guys, this is what I wanted to share with you this day in this tutorial. So I guess you learned a lot. We've learned from opening a workbook, that is control N, to closing a workbook. And then we've also learned about how to redirect our cell to A1. We also learned about moving between the sheets and also moving back from to the previous sheet. We've also learned about formatting cells, how to open the format pane, that is control 1, we've learned about to activate filters for all the cells and also to delete and then to select cells. So that is all I wanted to share. So don't forget to subscribe to RX Tutorials. There are a lot of videos lined up to be displayed. So definitely you got to subscribe to RX Tutorials. It's the #1 tutorials channel you can ever get. We have various learning platforms. You can join us on Facebook, on all other social media platforms. Yes, take care and be good. Bye.